This is Democracy Now! When we come back, keep the oil in the soil. That's the demand of Ecuadorian activists, as well as their president. We'll speak with one of the leading environmentalists from Ecuador here in Copenhagen as we bring you our live, exclusive, two-week daily coverage from the Bella Center, Climate Countdown. Stay with us.
The Arctic ice, it is melting. Polar bears, they are sweltering. You've heard about this till your brain's exploding. Your light bulbs are changed. But what's that car you're driving? And do you really think we'll save the world by recycling? And you tell me over and over and over again, my friend, you don't believe we're on the eve of destruction. Conditions for civilization 350, there is no debating. 390 now and accelerating. The scientists say we don't need more explanation. And look around you now, there's chaos in the making, but you tell me over and over.
Eve of Destruction, Ken Ward. And you can go to our website at democracynow.org. The images provided by 350.org. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. It's Climate Countdown. I'm Amy Goodman. We're broadcasting in Copenhagen at the largest UN climate summit in history. As delegates discuss various ways to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, our next guest has a simple message. Keep untapped oil in the ground. That's oil in the soil. Ivonne Yanez is an environmental activist from Ecuador, one of the larger oil-producing countries in Latin America. Ecuador is believed to be sitting on an oil reserve of hundreds of millions of barrels, but the oil is located in the Yasuni National Park, one of the most biodiverse places on the planet. Ecuador has launched a unique campaign to have the international community compensate the country in exchange for keeping the oil in the soil. Ivonne Yanez joins us here in Copenhagen. She works with the Ecuadorian group Acción Ecológica, that's Ecological Action. Welcome to Democracy Now!
Thank you very much.
You have been speaking out at the Climate Forum across town. Explain this campaign, Oil in the Soil.
Okay, it's a campaign that starts many years ago in Ecuador, mainly because we have been suffering oil activities impacts in the Amazonia. So we thought that the unique way to save the forest is keeping oil underground on that time, and to save, of course, the indigenous people living on those forests. But after that, linking with climate change, we thought that it could be a good idea also to launch this campaign internationally and say that the only effective, measurable way to fight climate change is, of course, leaving the oil in the soil and the coal in the hole, and of course tar sand in the land.
Wait a second. Oil in the soil, coal in the hole, and tar sand in the land.
Yes. This is our slogan now, and it's a slogan that was taken by other organizations, not only in Ecuador. We have groups in Brazil that want also to leave oil in the soil in Acre region. There are people in Peru that want to leave oil in the soil in one province, for example, in Loreto. There are people in Bolivian Amazon that want also to leave oil in the soil, the gas in the soil in this case, and they are proposing Amazonia sin petróleo. And there are other groups, for example, in Nigeria, that they are making a statement for the government that is a better deal in terms of economics for Nigeria to leave the oil in the soil than to sell it internationally, because of the damages, because of the corruption linked with that, because of the oil that is being stolen by the corrupted people there. So they are also asking to leave oil in the soil in the Niger Delta.
You have been going to these climate conferences, since you're like 30, in Rio in 1992.
Yes. Yes, it's true. I have been in 92 in the Rio Summit, and since 97, following the international negotiations on climate change. And we have been promoting since the beginning, not the campaign Keep Oil in the Soil, but a moratorium to oil activities. And this is the same. I mean, a moratorium and keeping oil in the soil, or just to declare free of oil peoples and territories. So we want to have nations emancipated of the dependence to oil and other fossil fuels. So we have been growing up and we have been evolving to this new concept of a new post-oil civilization.
So this idea of oil in the soil in Ecuador started with grassroots activists like you, Yvonne. But now your president, Correa, has adopted this. And now Germany is taking the lead. I'm just looking at a piece right now in Der Spiegel Online. Germany takes lead in saving Ecuador's rainforest.
Yes, 2 years ago, we had the luck to have environmentalist energy ministry, Alberto Costa, the former one. And we presented him this idea to say that Ecuador present this to the international community as an official and governmental position regarding climate change. And this is why Rafael Correa presented this, to keep the oil underground of one oil block that is located in the Yasuni National Park. But
where is the Yasuni National Park?
Where is it? In the Amazonia, in the east part of Ecuador. And this is one of the most biodiverse parts in the world. And most important, this is the ancestral territory of indigenous people that already are living with no contact with civilization. So the president were asking at the beginning as a compensation from the international community, the polluter countries, to give to Ecuador, because we are making an effort leaving this oil in the ground. But also this proposal changed. And now they are saying, okay, we are not asking for a compensation. Because this is not a question that if we don't give us the money, we are going to exploit oil. It's not like that. It's to say we are really making this effort, of course, but this is a contribution for humanity. But we live, our economy depends on oil incomes. So we say, okay, let's create a solidarity fund with the industrialized countries, giving money to this fund. And this is why Germany offered $50 million per year for 30 years. But other countries also offered. Italy, Spain, and other commitments came from other countries.
The United States?
No, not the United States. But I think that our government is going to take contact with some U.S. authorities. But in this case, I think that is not maybe a good idea, because they are thinking the possibility to ask for a contribution, but within the carbon market in the U.S. And of course, this is a change of the original proposal.
What do you mean?
Because we don't want... Because as Oil Watch, we are against carbon trading. And I think that this Yasuni proposal to keep oil in the soil maybe is one of the most revolutionary proposals in the world, not only because of climate change, but because we are really trying to shift our society to a post-oil society. And of course, as a plus, we are contributing to fight climate change. And we know that carbon trade is not good for climate. I think carbon trade is even increasing the emissions. So we cannot put this proposal that is to save the planet together with a proposal that is harmful to the climate and humanity, that is carbon trade. So we are asking the president to avoid this possibility to have funds in U.S. within the carbon trade system there.
And when you talk about carbon trading, the idea that a company could pollute, let's say, up here in the United States, of course, Chevron is involved in a major lawsuit with the Ecuadorian government, suing them over pollution in the Amazon, that they could buy up land and say, we'll keep this as a preserve, but we will pollute in another place.